Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Viewers, what have entered in the 2023? There is a hope. There is a hope of that there would be a peace in the world. There will be development in the world. But unfortunately, there are certain elements which are not very encouraging. For example, in the 2023, the Cold War II will be in a full swing. If we have seen the recent events for the last 2-3 years, we have seen, so the Western powers, they have initiated a Cold War against China. Either we accept it or not, either we like it or not, but the Cold War is going on. And the Western countries, they are unilaterally, they are trying to impose a Cold War II on China. They feel, so China is a threat to their hegemonic power. They feel China is a bottleneck in their hegemonic aspirations. So they feel they have decided they have to take care of China if they want to maintain their hegemonic power, and they want to exploit the global resources, especially from the low income countries or the poor countries. They have to tackle the China. So they have launched the Cold War II. It is expected and it is anticipated. Now there are certain elements also which also substantiate to this assumption. The Cold War II will be intensified in 2023. For example, the US, if you look at the US national security policy, they are too much talking about the China. They have decided that China will be their major opponent in the coming years. If we look at the strategic paper of European Union, they have declared China a strategic rival. They are not just talking, they are also giving funding. For example, in the Competes Act, USA has allocated $500 million just for media. This is for media. Other funding I am not talking about, just to tackle the question of China, to create some material which must be very critical of China, so they can criticize China on one and other assumption. And specifically, they are also looking at some countries where the China has a deeper relation, or where the China has is investing to build those countries. They have dedicated some huge amounts of resources to tackle China question, and they are trying to create some negative propaganda against China. For example, in this year, the Senate of US, they have passed $200 million allocation for Pakistan only. That allocation is being done at the name of democracy, human rights, and the gender equality. That amount, $200 million, will be given to different NGOs and the think tanks. This is not the government funding for the government activities. It will be funding for the NGOs and the think tanks. And so we can expect the propaganda will be intensified. But there are many people who believe, so this funding is not only for democracy, this funding is actually against the CPEC. There are two reasons they are targeting the CPEC. For example, first reason is that the CPEC is the flagship project of Belt and Road Initiative. They feel if they are able to fail the CPEC, so they can also criticize the BRI in other countries. So that's why they are concentrating too much on CPEC. They also want to deprive Pakistan from an economic opportunity, an opportunity which can help Pakistan to develop and break the shackles of the debt trap, which has been woven by the IMF, World Bank, and other Western institutions. So they are bringing too much resources in Pakistan to oppose CPEC. And second, they want to create an example for the world. So they can, if the CPEC is a failure, so they can quote to the world, look, if China is not able to save its friend, its iron brother, how China can help you? So they want to achieve two goals with the one stone in Pakistan. Now, if we look at global level, they are also investing in Africa. They are also investing in other countries, in their think tanks, in NGOs, in the media, to create negative propaganda against China. But my assumption is that despite all these such propaganda and negative campaigns, the Western powers will not be successful to entangle China or to trap to China. This is not, you can say, the exaggerations or my wish. There are a number of indicators, there are a number of facts which substantiate to this assumption. If you look at that at this point of the time, China is deeply integrated in a global system. Either we talk about economy, or we talk about diplomacy, security, or the development. China is deeply integrated in the global system. If we, at this point of time, we look at that, China is the biggest trade partner of more than 100 countries at the global level, including all the major countries of the world. If we look at the development side, China has initiated 2 major initiatives, global development initiative and 6 100 development programs. If we look at the diplomatic level, China is also leading the campaigns of reforms at the UN level and other global institutions. But at the same time, China is home of so many international programs in the field of economy, in the field of diplomacy, or in the field of security, etc. For example, in terms of economy, China is a home of 3 major big initiatives of the world at this point of the time. Number 1, Belt and Road Initiative. It is considered one of the biggest initiative which is taking care of the needs of the developing country. It is considered one of the biggest initiative of the human history in the field of trade, connectivity, economy and that development. That's why so many countries are trying to join it. Another reason is that inclusiveness and openness also make it very attractive for the country. That's why at this point of the time, 149 countries have joined the BRI and 32 organizations have also joined the BRI. If we look at the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, it is the second largest bank after the World Bank. It has 105 member countries at this point of the time. And the beauty of the Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank is that has been designed in such a way that discourage financial exploitation of the weak countries. So China want to create an opportunity where the people can get funding or the financial resources not being exploited or without any conditionalities or lectures like human rights or the lectures on so many other things. Third, China have created China International Import Expo. That is a very unique initiative because we till to this point before that initiative we always have seen the Export Expo, but this is the first time some country have launched Import Expo. It shows that China is willing to open its market to more deeply engage in the global market. If we look at the say diplomacy level, the biggest initiative is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It is a very unique organization because it has been built on the principle of the partnership. It is not an alliance-based organization like NATO and other. It is a partnership organization. And other thing is that this is only regional initiative or the organization which have 4 nuclear power, namely China, Russia, Pakistan and India. And the beauty of this partnership is that 2 arch rivals, Pakistan and India, they are working jointly at the SCO. On the security side, President Xi Jinping was very careful and he was cognizant that at this point of time world need a new framework of the security because the powerful countries they are bullying the poor on the weak countries and they are trying to dictate the world according to their terms. That's why President Xi Jinping has launched Global Security Initiative. That initiative which have the 4 pillars: common, comprehensive, cooperative and sustainable security. These are 4 indicators which most of the countries, especially the weak countries, were looking for such initiative. Because when we talk about the common, so it says that so every country's security is equal. There is no big power, there is no small power. Every country's legitimate rights of the security must be met. And second, comprehensive. It not only talking about the traditional instrument of the security but also non-traditional like food insecurity, climate change, environment degradation, then the cooperative. It means that you have to coordinate and cooperate your decision making and the implementation. There should not be a unilateral decision and ask the other countries to follow it. And sustainable security, that means we also have to look into the non-traditional elements of the security. So these are the few initiatives which I have discussed. This shows that China is deeply integrated in the global system. Simultaneously, China is a home to many global initiatives which countries are joining with their player because those initiatives have been built by the principles of the win-win cooperation. So Western hegemonic power will not be able to contain China. That's why I built the assumption the Cold War II will not get the results and the Western hegemonic power will not be able to contain or entangle China. So the better option is that the Western hegemonic power should leave their hegemonic aspirations. They should try to build the cooperation. They should work to build the cooperation on the basis of the win-win cooperation formula because President Xi Jinping, as he said already, so we should strive for the community with a shared future because we are living in a world where everybody have a stake with the other. So we should take care of each other and we should try to share our prosperity. So we need to come out of this negative propaganda or undermining of other countries, and cooperation is only the way forward for the world.